what happened in practice for the Japanese Grand Prix. Practice Friday in the locker. Not a lot's gone on since China in terms of news and storylines to keep an eye on. So it actually, obviously, sarcasm fully loaded there. It actually made for a Friday viewing of interest for sure, because of Yuki Tsunoda, of course, being in the Red Bull. Lawson back down in the V-Carb. Down or up? We will discuss that. Is it a demotion? Is it a promotion? But Tommy, how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling good. The first session had the intrigue of seeing how people would do, and then the second session had absolute carnage, basically. Couldn't have been more polar opposite, really. The
big storyline has to have been from Free Practice 1, and I love how we're saying big storylines attached to Free Practice 1. But Yuki Tsunoda, the greatest of all time, 1/10 off of new teammate Max Verstappen, which, well, I was saying and thinking before we watched Free Practice 2, here we go. Okay, all right, Red Bull have found the solution, but we can't really say too much about FP1, can we?
No, because don't get me wrong, he did a good job, and it is a big headline kind of statement to go in and immediately just for Red Bull Racing to be able to tweet a graphic that doesn't say P5, P20, that actually has the two cars together for the first time in a very long time, is good for them. Of course, we don't know yet because of, we'll get into this, but obviously Tsunoda didn't really set a proper lap in the interrupted FP2 session. But the thing is, we don't know the kind of pace of the car and if Max was on a hot lap or whatever. We will find out in FP3. But it is definitely a promising start for Yuki, that's for sure.
First question coming in from P1 Patreon member Savage Monkey 3.0. How well has Yuki adjusted so far? Yeah, Yuki, look, he's not made any headlines for any bad reasons. FP1, as we said, up in P6, a 10th off Max. That's all you can ask for, and probably a little bit more than we all expected. Free Practice 2, he didn't even do a soft representative run. We'll get into FP2 a little bit more shortly.
Sandbagging, clearly.
Sandbagging.
Yeah. He knows he's got all that pace in. He's actually going to just get pole position.
Okay. Yeah. But yes, I think the only thing you can say from Friday practice is that he didn't do anything drastically wrong, and that's great.
Exactly. That's all Red Bull needed, really, to just him have a solid session, which he had a more than solid session in the first one. And then the second one, there'll be headlines, and we'll talk about it, of which car is actually quicker because of the lap times between the two Red Bull cars. But we didn't actually see what Yuki could do in that interrupted session. So we'll have to find out tomorrow, really.
So I have a pretty awesome announcement to tell you. And it is, I am running the London Marathon this month, representing Great Ormond Street Hospital and trying to raise as much money for this amazing charity. So over the last 4 or 5 months, I was given the opportunity from this incredible charity to run for them, raise money for them in the London Marathon. Now, I've never really done running. I've played sports in the past. I play tennis, things like that. I've never done running, especially long distance. And oh my goodness gracious me, I have put so much time into trying to become even moderately average. And I have to do 26 miles or 2 kilometers on the 27th of April. Now, if you would like to support me in this, there'll be a link at the top of the description. I'm going to be shouting about this over the next couple of weeks because I'd love to raise as much money as possible for such an amazing charity. Great Ormond Street Hospital tried to give the best treatment to children with the rarest and most complex illnesses around the world. When you're a kid, you absolutely should not be spending it in hospital, but this place tries to make it the best experience they can despite their conditions. So if you want to support the charity and support myself doing these 26.2 miles where I'm definitely going to be crawling over the line at the end, then there's a link in the description to donate. And if you want to support me by coming along, then let me know. I don't know if we should create a little bit of merch. If you want to come along to the London Marathon, come to the event, enjoy it. I don't know. There might be one of you that wants to come along to that, or maybe a few of you. Let me know in the comments, and we'll try and sort something to raise as much money as possible. Let's get on to Free Practice 2 then. And this one was the exact opposite of what we saw in Free Practice 1. It was crazy. We had 4 red flags. one of which was caused by Jack Doohan, who had a massive crash. It was such high speed into turn one. And I was watching the Sky coverage. I know you were as well, Tommy. Not particularly leaning towards a reason as to why he crashed that way. Immediately when I saw it, that looks exactly like me on the F1 game many, many times where I've forgotten to close DRS and the rear has gone goodbye, and then you just lose all downforce and you're into the wall. It looked almost exactly the same for Doohan. And then riding on board as well, you see the replays and you see the F1 TV analysis and Jolyon Palmer, who is great. And he said that, you could see on the steering wheel that there's these green lights, which suggest that the DRS is open. So as much as from the replays, you can't see necessarily the rear flap open, by the time, obviously, he starts to lose it, he's probably pressed the brakes and therefore the DRS closes automatically. But if you aren't aware, DRS doesn't close automatically. It's whenever you press the brakes. So press the brake, DRS closes. But into turn one, they press the brakes so late, pretty much into turn two, that they have to manually close the DRS. And from what it looks like right now, whether there's been more analysis, we wait to see. It just looks like Doohan has forgotten to close his DRS. There was obviously the reasonings potentially of bottoming out, of him dipping a wheel. I don't think he dipped a wheel. It didn't look like he dipped a wheel. The bottoming out thing is hard to obviously judge, but from what I've seen, that is very much driver error forgetting to close the DRS.
As you were saying that, one thing that popped into my mind was back when they were kind of allowing DRS, there was that moment, I believe it was 2018 at the British Grand Prix, and they kind of allowed DRS through corners and things. And Marcus Ericsson forgot to close the DRS there, and it's a very similar crash where the rear it's literally like banana peel Mario Kart. The whole back end just spins round and you're a passenger. And it looked very, very similar to that. So I'd be inclined to believe that was the case. But just thank goodness he's okay, because you see, it's a weird thing to say, because you know Formula One cars are going fast, but until they go off, you don't kind of almost get that realization of just how insanely quick they're going into these corners. Because boy, when you kind of see him go off, you're kind of taken back and go, oh my word, this is quite insane. It was quite an uncomfortable watch to see the car going in that quick, and just madness that this can happen and he can jump out now.
I mean, it is incredible. So glad to see Doohan walk away from what we know as unscathed. You have to feel a little bit for him in the sense of, if a team genuinely wants a driver to improve and build into a season, they give him free practice one in his third race weekend. But alas, glad to see Doohan walk away from it okay. If it is put down to absolute driver error, then it's not good for his prospects for the future. Of course, the Colapinto rumour mill will continue on, I'm sure. Next question, P1 Patreon member Fraser. What's going on with Alonso? Well, look, as a number 2 driver at Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso, he's just building into his rookie season. Look, it's going from bad to worse for Alonso so far this year. It was actually quite an uncharacteristic error for Fernando Alonso, just literally not understanding the specifications and width of his car. Like, that is a genuine driver error, dipping a wheel into the grass and then going off at Degner 1. It is uncharacteristic, and I wouldn't expect that from Fernando Alonso, of all drivers. And I'm not going to throw it out just yet, but of course, he is the oldest driver on the grid. He is fighting science and nature as the weeks pass. Tommy, is he getting too old?
I think it's just until we kind of see it in the race where he makes an error, it's a load of rubbish. Yes, he spun off. It doesn't look great. But his kind of season has been so over-exaggerated with, he's absolutely washed. He's been ahead of Stroll when he's retired in both the races. One less so his kind of error, and one definitely not his error with just a car mechanical failure. He was quicker than Stroll in both sessions. So,
sounds like a lot of copium over there to Tommy.
I just think it's absolutely ridiculous to be like people have just he's spun off in a free practice session and suddenly he's 43 and needs to go to the retirement home. Like, no. Until Lance Stroll is just out-qualifying Alonso and beating him every single weekend, then I will, I say happily, unhappily admit that maybe his time has passed. But until then, that's not the case.
Next question. People on Patreon member Wilderness Ted. Are grass fires common enough that they should try to do something to prevent them on dry circuits? They used, and this is from what Sky said, a chemical last year to try and combat the problems of the floor rubbing against the track and therefore causing sparks. And then with it being windy as well, it would then push the sparks onto the grass and, of course, cause fires. So they're going to have to do something for sure. Otherwise, we could get red flags in the race. We could get red flags in qualifying tomorrow. And that's not what we want. I mean, drivers are struggling out there enough as it is, let alone having grass fires as well. So, yeah, they'll be working hard. The FIA, Formula One, they'll come up with a solution to this, I'm sure. They're not just going to leave it and go, well, hopefully tomorrow it's better. Or Sunday, of course, there's going to be a bit of rain, which will help in the morning. Whether that will then translate into a race session, we will wait and see. But they'll figure it out.
It always seems to happen, happen in China in a practice session. And it's better that it happens in a practice session than halfway through the Grand Prix. And then they go, oh no, we've not prepared for this. And then it keeps happening. Because can you imagine this happening during the race when, they're not prepared for it. And then it keeps happening every 20 minutes or something. So that's kind of, they can consider themselves lucky, really, that it's happened in practice and they can probably do something about it.
Absolutely. Next question, James BCFCF1. So when is Max Verstappen getting promoted to VCARB? It's rather concerning if you're Red Bull. And did I expect the Racing Bulls to be that high up? Absolutely not. I can't see it happening from so many, even just from a PR perspective from Red Bull. Like, if they genuinely they can't do that. They just can't. It just would not work. As much as we joke about it, I cannot see a world, unless Racing Bulls are quite literally half a second a lap clear down the road, where this happens. It's close. It's a tenth between Verstappen and then Lawson and Hadjar ahead. It's not complete panic stations at the moment. But Racing Bulls have got a pretty decent package by the looks of things.
I think that is more of a kick in the face. The fact that, yes, Red Bull are nowhere near what they were last year, but even more of a kick in the face that the VCARB is seemingly so quick and looks so good. And of course, that team based in Italy don't have the same kind of budgets and stuff. Yes, they have a lot of the, what they can learn from each other legally, but it's not a good look for Red Bull at all. And Racing Bulls look rapid. I know it's only practice, but they really do look very quick.
So for those of you wondering, as much as we say I don't think it's going to happen, Max surely isn't going to go to Racing Bulls if they genuinely are quicker. They can make that switch. There's nothing to stop them from doing that. We've seen it with Lawson and Sonoda. Max could. Oh God!
Can you imagine the controversy though?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because realistically, you think how much controversy Daniel Ricciardo doing a fastest lap to take it off Norris at the end of last year was in the sister team. Can you imagine if they put Max in that VCARB while it's really quick and he does a really good job, and then they switch him back as soon as they sort their car troubles out? That would open up a whole new level of this kind of should a company have two teams in Formula One. That would open up a whole new thing that we never possibly could have expected.
I would not be surprised. There's part of me that's like, would it or wouldn't it? Where Max goes, just put me in for FP1. Let me have a taste of this. Let me see what this Racing Bulls
He'd get
is
so much.
saying.
I'm surprised he's not. I'd get him to Faenza and get on the sim and have a have a go.
I would be surprised if he hasn't already had a go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it is Max. He loves his simulators anyway. I'm sure he's very interested to know what that Racing Bulls has to offer. But then, as much as we joke and we say, could he go to the Racing Bulls, etc., etc., if Max then jumps out of that Red Bull, it's basically just signing, sealing and delivering a very poor season for that car over at Red Bull, just purely because they need Max to help develop it. And if he jogs on to the other team, they're just going to go backwards even further. Let's now also touch upon the fact that it was a McLaren 1-2, Piastri ahead of Norris. They were going a lot quicker than what those 28-1s suggest as well. I do wonder if they were using their tyres at a different point in the track, because I think Piastri and Norris were both about 3/10 up, or at least Lando was 3/10 up through the middle sector, ended up not improving, or at least not beating Piastri at the end in this final sector. But McLaren do look genuinely unstoppable, but they have to deliver, and that's something that consistently over a 24 race season they need to do for the first time.
So shout out to Lights Out Blog, who combined this of basically the perfect sectors that they did through everything to show like an ideal lap from the practice sessions. Norris would be first, Piastri 3/10 off, and then Leclerc in third, 6.5 tenths off. That McLaren looks very good, but as we know, it's just the driver lineup.
Look,
as Lando's reminded us all.
Look, don't take that quote out of context, bro. You're going to have an army on you. But yeah, I think that with the sectors, I am convinced that they were just using their tyres in a different part of the track. Whether those optimal sectors is actually something that they can deliver on, I'm not sure. But they have a handful of tenths in the locker to play with. And that is it. That is our Friday wrap-up done and dusted. We will see you tomorrow, where we will be live on YouTube and Twitch, as always, to stream qualifying. Our watch-along over on there. Come and join us if you haven't before. Tommy, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, just bring on. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
I'm still ill.
I'm
still ill.
Bring on. Oh my God, he's snorting at everything. This is one of the wildest outros I've ever seen. Tommy's now fallen off of his chair. Let's try that again.
It's great for a podcast. I made it through.
You had about 7 words left. Oh my God. He's having a drink for the final sentence. The final sentence of our podcast. He can't get it out.
Right,
Tommy, come on.
Bring on qualifying.
Is that it? 3 words?
No, because Suzuka is just a banging track for qualifying. It's so high speed. Watching Formula One cars, it's not the best track for overtaking and in the race, but qualifying is just mega, so I can't wait for it.
God, you love a quali but can't overtake race, don't you?
Yeah.
It's just Monaco
Sign me
over. But yeah, it is awesome. Looking forward to that. 7 a.m. UK time. We'll be live about half an hour prior to qualifying starting, and we will see you very soon. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.
Bye.